Big Meech, was just used like a pawn in what is allegedly a $120 million scam by Rick Ross. Now, 50 Cent is out there making fun of the whole thing. Here's the crazy twist, though. Long before it occurred, everyone on the neighborhood could see this swindle developing, except for Big Meech himself. Like bait on a hook, Ross entered with extravagant projects, movie deals, and Hollywood assurances. He then continued to live lavishly in expansive houses while leaving Meech and his son standing there, looking destitute and abandoned, after the cameras had stopped flashing.
Mansions.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for?
According to street insiders, this play was seen long before it made headlines. Fans anticipated a genuine comeback story when Big Meech was released from prison in October. At last, the legend is coming back to take back his throne. There were strong expectations that Meech would take significant action and turn his street reputation into a respectable empire. However, Rick Ross showed up out of nowhere, talking and acting like a pro. Huge projects, $120 million movie deals, and financial revolution promises. On paper, it appeared as though Meech was set to capitalize on the legacy he had cultivated, finally eating off his own name. But the truth struck hard as the smoke cleared. The empire Ross promised was nothing more than smoke and mirrors, and nothing materialized. Rick Ross didn't deliver at all. No follow-through, no cash, and no projects. Rather, he flexed in his long-running feud with 50 Cent by using the Meech brand as a... People weren't fooled for a second, calling out...
Now, a guy, I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. That Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech?
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to. And if he was a real friend to Meech...
Ross's act is straight clout chasing from day one. Everyone in the game already knew who had been putting in the real work. 50 Cent. He was the one financing the BMF series, paying for Lil Meech's acting lessons and opening doors that turned him into a legitimate star. Meanwhile, Ross brought nothing but headlines and empty hype, boosting his own image while giving nothing back. Still, Meech leaned closer to Ross, ignoring the one man who had actually kept his legacy alive. That decision sparked serious tension behind the scenes. Even Tony O said it plain. 50 had been standing beside Lil Meech since the very beginning. No sugarcoating, no gimmicks. Now, word around the block says Meech is feeling the pressure. His frustration's growing, his money's drying up, and reality's hitting hard. Ross never linked up out of loyalty or brotherhood. He only did it to jab at 50 Cent and stir the fire. The result? Meech doesn't look like a king anymore. He looks like a pawn in somebody else's feud. And that's when 50 Cent decided it was time to step in and flip the whole script. Cent had officially had enough of staying silent. He fired back with a signature move from his troll playbook, claiming Rick Ross told Lil Meech to hand over his father's address so he could send some Wingstop wings. Interview 36-3-57-it.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
7-it wasn't simply a joke, though. It has layers of significance. 50 was telling the world that Ross was only giving the Meech legacy tokens of allegiance rather than anything genuine. Because it contained reality, that comedy struck a deep chord. Then things became even more intimate. 50 Cent revealed shocking details regarding Lil Meech's purported backstage difficulties. He said he had to intervene personally, sending Meech to treatment when he arrived at the set drunk, puked during weapons training, and became distracted while filming. The notorious tale of the whippets discovered in Meech's vehicle followed. Canisters of nitrous oxide connected to careless actions. 50 laughed at the ridiculousness and quipped that he had to look up what whippets were on Google, making the argument clear. While others went into a tailspin, he was the mature man in the room keeping the production going. 50 presented himself as the one keeping Lil Meech's career together and acting as the protector throughout it all. In his opinion, Song, Ross, and Big Meech were careless with their reputations in real life. Lil Meech, however, continued to support Ross in spite of everything and was spotted having parties with him, grinning for the cameras in clubs. What remains of the once famous BMF image is currently being roasted on the streets. That partnership with Ross, which was based on ego and talk, fell apart more quickly than anyone anticipated. The energy changed once more when power star Michael Rainey Jr. took over. "I don't feel sorry for either Lil," he said plainly, Meech or Big Meech, because he said that mature men ought to have anticipated this. The moment has here, Ricky Rose. Let's meet Chong, February 13th. Purchase your tickets now. It's falling. We are certain that Florida will be present. Miami will be present. The legendary figure himself going to be creating history in the building. See who else is coming? The entire country. California, Detroit, St. Louis, everyone. Get up, Atlanta, Georgia, ATL. We will create history. Make sure your tickets are correct. That Michael Rainey Jr. clip does spread like wildfire on social media, and 50 Cent really stepped up after learning about it. He firmly supported Rainey's assertions, which furthered the perception that the Meech camp was helpless and deceived. 50 did not turn back. He stamped it, painting the whole thing as another case of poor judgment and misguided allegiance. Furthermore, leaving people stranded isn't really a novel plot twist in Rick Ross's tale. He is alleged to have done this before. According to sources, Ross once abandoned his own group in Canada during a fight, allowing them to be jumped while he escaped. He eventually returned, saying it was all a test of strength, calculating, heartless, and in line with the perception that many people have of him. Industry insiders say that's Ross's signature move. You've been amused by a mediocre, low-budget series, so you want to make a BMF movie. The time has come for a high-budget movie. Which filmmaker? What's up, Antoine Fuqua, my friend F. Gary Gray? Tarantino, huh? There are many legends, I guess. This will be significant. I sense it. I am merely speaking. Whack 100 even went so far as to name Ross the true villain behind the scenes. He claimed that Ross is merely a manipulator who uses Big Meech's name as a pawn to attack 50 Cent and has never been a true ally. Whack also didn't hold back. He maintained that if Ross was genuinely interested in building something genuine, he would have conducted business in a low-key private manner and built in quietness rather than making headlines. Rather, Ross centered everything on himself. The sheen, the deals, the attention. He used the relationship to improve his own reputation and flaunted Meech's name for influence. The whole tale was revealed by that alone. Big Meech wasn't appealing to Ross. He had Ross in mind. He gassed Meech with promises of stacked bread and empire building long before the play began. His own renown was the only kingdom that was expanding. The man who had truly assisted in reviving his son's career, 50 Cent, was the target of Rick Ross's covert efforts to turn Big Meech against him. And nothing was there when the smoke eventually cleared. Only empty headlines and phony promises remained. Who owns your master's 50? Your masters are owned by whom? I purchase your master's degree. You'd better stop talking. I'll purchase your master's. You know, but when you take Lil Meech and enroll him in an acting program, you take him from Detroit. I recall him rapping, and from what I could see, no one was assisting him since I recall Lil Meech's rapping days. Just as the excitement was starting to die down, Ross stopped talking to Meech, leaving him stranded. The truth struck hard all of a sudden. Ross only ever supports causes that benefit him personally, and Meech was no longer a part of that strategy. Even the cancellation of Meech's Welcome Home benefit concert, which fans believed 50 Cent had somehow ruined, was attributed to Ross, according to circulating rumors. The true story, however, was darker, according to insiders. Ross didn't want Meech to regain momentum or make a big comeback. Ross was the public hero on the internet, and he wanted him to be relegated to the background. Many people think that was the biggest betrayal. Instead of rewriting his legend, it was a planned maneuver to exchange another man's legacy for influence, and Meech followed him right into the point at which the streets ceased to rock. When he attempted to retaliate, accusing 50 Cent of being an online thug who was hiding behind a phone and trolling for attention, the situation only became worse. However, no one purchased it. It was seen for what it was on the street. Simply put, damage control. The jokes had already become ingrained by then. Meech was portrayed as being outplayed and outmaneuvered by the memes, the criticism, and the clowning. And the trend becomes very evident when you dig deeper into Ross's past. An extensive history of partnerships and alliances based on self-interest that invariably result in a cost to someone else. Is there any information regarding Ross and his professional life that you admire? No, nothing is there. Nothing is there. I had no desire to collaborate with him. A distinct pattern becomes apparent when you examine Rick Ross's past performance. one based not on loyalty but on opportunism. Almost all of his significant hip-hop partnerships have terminated in the same manner. Disarray, misunderstanding, and someone else getting the short end of the stick. Ross has demonstrated a vicious knack for transforming friendships into media attention. From the early success of Maybach Music to his public conflicts with erstwhile partners. Consider the lineup of MMG. Previously, Whale, Meek Mill, and Gunplay were all under Ross's leadership. However, each eventually started complaining about contracts, unfulfilled promises, or unaccounted for funds. Ross would seem supportive in public, but rumors from behind the scenes told a different story. One of manipulation, ego, and control. I don't believe there is a bad guy. No, it is indeed. Let's discuss it, Vlad. Meech is the one who erred, in my opinion. No. Do you believe 50? No. Lil Meech? No. Now who am I forgetting? Rick Ross was well aware of what he was doing and the consequences. And if he truly was Meech's friend, he would have dealt with Meech in the background. Unless he was trying to get 50 out of the way, because he is aware of me and the way this guy will react if he witnesses me interacting with this guy he does business with. There was still a lot of work to be done, isn't it? If Rick Ross truly loved and revered Meech, he could have done whatever he was going to do in the background, bro. Meech wished this whole thing had never happened, I assure you. Even Meek, who was formerly thought of as Ross. When he realized that the empire wasn't created for everyone to win equally, the right-hand man discreetly withdrew. With Big Meech, it appears that the same pattern has occurred once more. Ross went away with another round of attention, but the $120 million project he had mesmerized turned into smoke and mirrors. The fact that Ross always finds a new person to associate with when his name fades from the spotlight, someone who still possesses weight in the streets. In the meantime, 50 Cent has completely changed the course of events, turning true stories into television moments worth billions of dollars. That's the distinction. 50 creates empires with planning, whereas Ross continues to seek approval through scandal. Fans and the public witness it, and even industry insiders acknowledge that Ross may be playing checkers while 50 is playing chess. The question that remains unanswered at this time is straightforward. Before others recognize the game, how many more will Ross entice into his orbit? For if history has taught us anything, it is that those who stick with him eventually come to the same conclusion. Clout lasts forever, but loyalty is fleeting. There is no denying the pattern. The entire playbook of Rick Ross is based on borrowed traditions. I don't believe there is a bad guy, that guy. No, it is indeed. Let's discuss it, Vlad. Meech is the one who erred, in my opinion. No. Do you believe 50? No. Lil Meech? No. Now who am I forgetting? Rick Ross was well aware of what he was doing, the consequences, and whether or not he was truly Meech's friend. Big Meech thought Ross was standing next to him like family when he heard the BMF track. However, what if that allegiance was really a pretext? What if Ross's goal was to become Big Meech in the culture's eyes rather than to revere the real Meech? It fits wonderfully when you think about it. Ross's entire career has been based on stories and identities that weren't originally his. Everything is recorded. His entire character was based on the actual Rick Ross. While Ross used his name, image, and story to build a multi-million-dollar brand, the street legend was imprisoned. The real Rick Ross emerged and had challenged him and even took him to court in an attempt to get back what was rightfully theirs. Ross did not recoil. He doubled in, making even more money from the myth he created. Then he repeated the process with Larry Hoover, using the name of another famous person who was incarcerated and incorporating it into songs, interviews, and images while sullying his reputation. Different legend, same play. It's beginning to seem like history is being repeated with Big Meech. Another distorted heritage, another borrowed name. Ross sparkles in the borrowed light, leaving another guy in the shadows. It presents an unambiguous image. For years, Rick Ross has profited from the suffering of others by stealing their stories. Additionally, when he is the sole one taking home the victories when the smoke clears. To be honest, 50 Cent made an early call. Since the beginning, he has maintained that Ross was only respected as a marketer and never as a man. Naturally, the online community has also not held back. The comment that went viral said, "Rick Ross is a fraud, period." Ross, said another, ruined the entire legacy in an attempt to gain influence. Although the public has voiced its opinions, the larger question still stands. Did Rick Ross truly leave Big Meech high and dry, or was he just playing a prank? Was Meech simply outsmarted in a much larger scheme, or was his loyalty misguided? Leave a comment below with your opinions. To ensure you never miss the next one, hit the like button and remember to subscribe. Deep dive. View the following video on the final screen. This tale is not at all like